friends, and welcome to the Dr. Sem Yankees and More program. It is Saturday, August the 22nd, 2026, and let's make today a great day. How do you make your day great? Well, it's simple. It is simple. The way to make your day great is to appreciate what you have. Appreciation is the foundation of happiness. You make your day great by looking at the world around you and noticing all of the good, because there is a lot of it. And then you take that good and you cherish it in your heart. And you can't help but have a great day. Make each day great, because when your day is great, you make the days of the people around you better. When we give love, it comes back to us in greater amounts than we ever gave. But I know some of you will say, Dr. Sem, there's nothing good. I can't find anything at all good anywhere. As you sit in your air-conditioned home, watching your computer, on your cellular phone, sipping a Starbucks coffee or whatever. No, there's lots of good. There is lots of good. But if you really believe you can't find any good, well, then go out and do something nice for somebody else. And then there will be good. And then you can cherish that good in your heart. And you can also, obviously, if you're doing good for other people, but you can share that good and help make this world a better place for everybody. This, of course, is the Dr. Sem Yankee Show. And I am going to amaze you all, as I do every week, with statistics, facts, and perspectives that no one else brings you. I have been down on the Yankees all year. The Yankees had their swoon. They have their annual swoon. You know I don't believe Brian Cashman did a great job at the trade deadline. You know I don't believe that Aaron Boone is a very good manager. You know that I think the Yankees are flawed fundamentally. You know, I think their strategy is weak. You know that I think a lot of the players don't pay attention. It's not a well-disciplined team. We've gone through all of that. I think if you read Start Spreading the News, the greatest Yankees site there is, I believe if you read Start Spreading the News, and if you have since we started in 2017, you will have read, I don't know, 143,622 different articles by me saying a variation on many of those themes. And this has not been a great season for the Yankees. It hasn't by any measure. And I'm not saying the Yankees are going to win the World Series. I've gone over this a million times as well. I don't believe the Yankees are built to win the World Series. Might they get lucky in a short series and win the World Series? Of course they might. Are they built to be a powerhouse? Absolutely not. When they get into the postseason, and I've been saying almost all year long, they will reach the postseason. So when they get into the postseason, do they have a good chance to win it all because they have outstanding starting pitching? Yes, they do. But are they built to be great? No, they're not. But all that aside, I've talked about that for, I don't know, is somebody calculating it? What do you got? Yes, the number just came to me. It's 14 million times on the nose. This is the 14 millionth and first time or something like that we're talking about these things. But all that aside, put it all aside, take it all, it's all true, and put it to the side. We're going to put all of it to the side. And we're going to talk about something that no one else has talked about. No one else has mentioned this. And as I write in my articles on Start Spreading the News, of other podcasters, writers, sportscasters, bloggers, or whomever uses this information that I'm sharing, at least give credit to Start Spreading the News and the Dr. Sem Show and the McGrath Podcast Network and all of our partners and friends, and say, this is where I got the information from. As down as we are, as I have been about the Yankees this year, as discouraged as I've been, the Yankees are actually doing pretty well. They had their swoon. Yes, they did. We know about that. Did you know that the Yankees, the 2026 Yankees, have had only one losing month? No one knows that. Everybody assumes the Yankees every month have been about a 500 team or worse, or they started off hot and they've been under 500 since. But believe it or not, Ripley, the Yankees have been over 500 in every month but one. Listen to this. Listen to this. See, you don't get this anywhere else because most people just stick with the simple narrative. March, 4-1. April, 16-10. May, 16-12. June, 12-14. Now, I know what you're saying. I already know what you're saying. You're thinking. You're saying it, and you're thinking it. Yeah, June begins, and it's been a disaster ever since. They've been a losing team since. They haven't been. No. July, 14-11. August, 10-7, barring what happened last night. This is shown originally on Saturday morning, and I'm recording this at about 6 p.m., about an hour before the Yankee game. So if the Yankees lost last night, they'd be 10-8 in August, and if they won, they'd be 11-7. What? That's right. That's what people are saying. No. That can't be possible. In the first half, the Yankees were 54-42. In the second half, so far, they're 18-13. I know, that's not true, you're saying. Of course it is. For as bad as the Yankees have been, for as frustrating as they've been, and I'm not going to go through the litany again, they're actually doing much better than I think anybody realized. Now, of course, there's the caveat. The American League isn't all that tough. There's a lot of bad teams, and when you play bad teams, you should be winning those games. And the Yankees should be building their team to be the best every single year, not just a little bit better than pretty good. But while most people think the Yankees have been losing all the time, they actually have a winning record in every single month this season. Isn't that amazing? Now, you're going to be an hour ahead, actually an hour behind. This show airs at 7 a.m. on Saturday mornings. And in my game summary, which I've started to craft some other interesting information, that goes up at 6 a.m. on Start Spreading the News. So if, again, that's startspreadingthenews.blog, go there. We put up new articles every single day at 6 a.m., 10 a.m., and 2 p.m. Plus, there's a game thread every time the Yankees play, so fans can write in and enjoy and converse with other Yankee fans, as long as they keep it polite. And as long as they don't insult players and make up ugly and crude and obnoxious nicknames. But join the game threads. They're fun. It's a great time. But you just have to be nice. If you don't want to be nice, go to a different site. There's plenty of them that want people to write obnoxious things. We don't. We have the nicest Yankees site on the internet, the most respectful Yankees site on the internet. But go to Start Spreading the News, 6 a.m., 10 a.m., 2 p.m. in the game thread. Now, tomorrow's a day game, so there won't be a 2 p.m. article because the game thread will be going on, so that preempts the 2 p.m. But tomorrow morning, or yesterday morning, this morning, Saturday morning at 6 a.m., I put up an article, which is the summary of whatever's going to happen tonight in the Yankee game. And in that, I'm giving some interesting information. I want you all to sit down for this because, again, no one is sharing this kind of fact with you. George Lombard has played 14 games. And I've talked about batting him ninth and not moving him around the batting order. The Yankees have not done that. And to date, I have been wrong because to date, he has been everything he's been advertised to be and more. He has been terrific. George Lombard Jr. has been fantastic. It's awesome how good George Lombard Jr. has been. And a lot of people are saying, see, we told you, he is a keeper. He is here for good. He is great. And he might be. And it looks like he could be. It might even look like he should be. But, my dear friends, I just want to share some information. And if you read Start Spreading the News at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning, you would have read this already. But not everybody reads Start Spreading the News, even though they should. Some people just watch the podcast. And so, for those of you who haven't seen the article yet, George Lombard, before the game last night, was batting .292. His batting average across 14 games has been .292. And people are saying that proves he's for real. He's played 14 games, 2 weeks. That proves he's for real. The guy's hitting .292. What they don't tell you is in his second season, in 2024, the Yankees had an elite fielding Gold Glove young shortstop. His name is Anthony Volpe. He's been discarded, thrown to the curb, back in the minor leagues, and he's going to try to make it back to the big leagues as a second baseman. Fair enough. Okay. But that same Anthony Volpe, across 24 games, not 14, across 24, to begin 2024, was hitting .293. What? I don't believe it. Look it up. 14 games is nice. It's great to have a 14-game hot streak to begin your career. That's terrific. 14 games is not a career. You say, all right, Dr. Sem, Volpe had a hot streak. In 1972, the Yankees had a third baseman named Celerino Sanchez. In 14 games from July 7th to July 23rd, Celerino Sanchez batted .354. Now, I know a lot of people out there have never heard of Celerino Sanchez, in spite of the fact that he was the name the Yankee the other night. Besides that, most people have never heard of him. But that's the point. You haven't heard of Celerino Sanchez because his career flamed out. Yet across 14 games, like George Lombard Jr., he was hotter than a firecracker. He hit .354. 14 games, my dear friends, does not define a career. How about this one? What if I told you that the Yankees' best shortstop since, I don't know, 1970, let's just pick a random year, was Alvaro Espinoza, the best Yankee shortstop between 1970 and the rise of Derek Jeter, was Alvaro Espinoza. Or what if I told you that if George Lombard can hit as high as Alvaro Espinoza as a shortstop, the Yankees will be doing really well? You would say, Dr. Sem, you've lost your mind. Alvaro Espinoza was not a great major league shortstop. We expect better from George Lombard Jr. But in 1989, Alvaro Espinoza, as the Yankee shortstop, 133 games into the season, was still hitting .290. That was on September 9th, 1989, and he started the year with the Yankees. 133 games that he had played. He had played 133 games, and Espy was hitting .290. 133 games does not a career make. But I had to dig deeper because it's just too much fun to make a point and then to make that point abundantly clear so that everybody understands that while we hope George Lombard Jr. is going to be great, and while it looks like he just might be great, and while he's off to a very good start, 14 games does not define a career. And really, truthfully, 14 games doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. Are you ready? This is the knockout blow, just to drive the point home. They made up a phrase for a guy hitting 200. 200 as a batting average is this arbitrary line. They call it the Mendoza line, meaning pretty darn bad, because Mario Mendoza was not a very good hitter. If you're hitting 200, you're on the Mendoza line. If you're slightly above it, you're hitting above the Mendoza line. They don't mention it if you're way above it. And if you're hitting below 200, they say you're hitting below the Mendoza line. Well, in 1980, Mario Mendoza, yes, the same guy, that Mario Mendoza, the guy who proved so much over his career that he was not a great hitter, that they named the minimal expectation of poor hitting the Mendoza line, a 200 batting average. To begin the year, his first 26 games in 1980, you can look this all up. I did. Mario Mendoza was batting, sit down, 292. That's right. George Lombard is hitting 292 over 14 games. Over 26 games in 1980, Mario Mendoza was hitting 292. 292 over 14 games is nice. It's terrific. It feels good. It gets us excited about George Lombard Jr., and I'm getting excited. But I think we need to temper our enthusiasm because, as I've shown with just a few players, and you could do this for almost any player across baseball history, they've had 2 weeks, 14 games. They've had 26 games. They've even had seasons where they hit well above their average. Mariano Duncan hit 340 in 1996. I don't think he was a Yankee by the end of 1997. I mean, it just, and he never came close to that again. And no one expected him to. So let's be excited about George Lombard Jr. Let's celebrate that he is proving that he can hit major league pitching. Let's enjoy his defense. But let's also keep this all in perspective. 14 games, a few hits over a couple of weeks does not define a career. It is not time, nor will it be time for many, many years for us to start wondering what George Lombard Jr.'s plaque in Monument Park is going to look like and his plaque in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, speaking of Monument Park, I encourage you, please, please, please go to Start Spreading the News. Please. I put up a series of articles this last week about Monument Park. You see, sadly, Tommy John passed away earlier in the week. I think it was on Sunday of last week. Tommy John, the great Tommy John, passed away. And the crime, we will all pass away. That's not the crime. The sad thing, the crime is that he never lived long enough to be enshrined in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, I've been arguing for Tommy John's case for a long time, many, many years. But the moment he died, you know what virtually the entire baseball world said? Tommy John should be in the Hall of Fame. And he will get there. Tommy John will be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. But the crime, the sadness, is that he will not be alive to see it. He'll be inducted posthumously, and that's just not right. Now, I understand that this happens sometimes. It happened to Ron Santo. It happened to Dave Parker. Parker at least learned he got in. It happened to Dick Allen. It happened to Buck O'Neill. All these guys that everybody said they belong in the Hall of Fame, they died and then they got in. And it's more than them, but you get the idea. Like, if we believe a guy belongs in the Hall of Fame, we've got to figure out a way to get that guy in the Hall of Fame. But the Hall of Fame at least has an excuse. The Hall of Fame at least has an excuse. They have voting procedures. They have calendars. They have a process. And Tommy John was part of that process, and he wasn't able to get in. Dick Allen, Ron Santo, and all the rest. That's a shame. But the Yankees have a Hall of Fame of their own. And my dear friends, please reach out to the Yankees and say the exact same things I'm saying. The Yankees have a Hall of Fame of their own. And unlike the Hall of Fame, there are no voting periods. There are no distinguished panels that we ever hear about getting together to vote. There is no calendar. There are years when multiple guys get into the Yankee Hall of Fame. We call it Monument Park. It's the place where the Yankees say they honor their legends. But then there's years on end where nobody gets in. And there are a host of deserving players, guys who were great and very good and award-winning and even Hall of Fame Yankees who are not in Monument Park. And I don't mean to pick on Paul O'Neill, and I don't mean to pick on Tino Martinez. I'm glad they're out there. Let's celebrate what they did. But they were not as good as a host, a plethora of players who are not out there. Greg Nettles was a Yankee captain. He's not in Monument Park. Greg Nettles is arguably the greatest third baseman in Yankee history. Do you know how many third basemen the Yankees have in Monument Park? 0. I have a chapter of that in my book, The Least Among Them. You ought to get a copy of that book if you haven't read it yet. The Least Among Them. Here it is, The Ultimate Insider Book. That's Marty Appel saying that. Come on now. You can find those books and more at apbooks.net. You know who else belongs out there? Roy White. one of the great Yankees of all time, Roy White. He's got to be put in Monument Park. Read Roy White's autobiography, written with me at apbooks.net. The Yankees, unlike the Baseball Hall of Fame, can put people in Monument Park whenever they wish. As I said, there's years when nobody goes in. There's years when multiple guys go in. They never tell us why. They never tell us why Tino Martinez deserves to be in, and Greg Nettles, and Roy White, and Wally Pipp, and Tommy Henrich, and Charlie Keller, and Hank Bauer don't. They never explain that. They say that Monument Park is where we honor our legends, and yet there's legends that are not there. But here's the crime. Greg Nettles just turned 82. Roy White is 82. Bobby Richardson is 91. These guys will not be around forever. And they deserve. They're better than guys who are in there. The only guy who played for the entire decade of the 1970s with the Yankees was Roy White. When he retired, he was among, and he still is, but he was among the top 5 or 6 Yankees in a host of statistical categories. Not only that, he was classy. He was one of the best all-around people. He inspired other Yankees. Read the book. He inspired Ray Negron. He inspired Willie Randolph. He's one of the good people in this world. And he's not in Monument Park, and he deserves to be. There's an article I put up listing the career WAR of the Yankees, the top 10 Yankees who aren't there. Absent A-Rod, and the guy with the highest WAR in Yankees history who's not in Monument Park, Roy White. How does he not belong out there? And someday he'll get there. Someday some Yankee executive somewhere is going to go, well, how did we not put Roy White out here? He should have been out here. Roy White's 82 years old. He deserves to be there. It's time for the Yankees to say, you know what? We have denied him for decades, and it's wrong. And it is time to right the wrong and put him in Monument Park. It's time to right the wrong for Greg Nettles. It's time to right the wrong for Bobby Richardson. It's time to right the wrong for Tony Kubek. It's time, because these guys are alive and they can still appreciate it. Let them have that honor. The one that was just denied Tommy John, because Tommy John passed away before he could get into the Baseball Hall of Fame, which again, everybody now says, oh yeah, he belongs. Sure he does. Of course he does. Yet when they were voting when he was alive, they couldn't seem to figure out to say yes. And that's just wrong. It's wrong on a human level. It's wrong on a baseball history level. For the baseball history of the Yankees, it's wrong that they're denying great players a chance to be in Monument Park. I would argue that Hank Bauer, and again, I'm glad Paul O'Neill is out there. Paul O'Neill was a great Yankee. Loved him. But I would argue that Hank Bauer meant more to the Yankees, or at least as much. Plus, he was a war hero in World War II than Paul O'Neill. But if I were to take a random Yankee fan and give them a photograph of Hank Bauer and a photograph of Paul O'Neill and say, you can keep this photograph. You may keep it forever. But you can only keep one. You can either keep O'Neill or you can keep Bauer. And I'm going to send you on a tour of Monument Park. And when you leave Monument Park, you tell me which of those two pictures you want to keep. To a person, the uninformed would keep Paul O'Neill and they would hand back Hank Bauer. Though you could argue that Hank Bauer was the better player. If the Yankees have Monument Park, a place to honor their legends, it's not fair to Hank Bauer. And it's not fair to Yankees history that he's not recognized there. He should be. Let's celebrate Tino Martinez. Let's celebrate Paul O'Neill. Let's celebrate Reggie Jackson. I've told the story a million times. When Reggie hit those 3 home runs, that solidified as a 9-year-old kid my love and never dying passion for the Yankees. I had tears of joy. I've told the story before a million times. Reggie will always have a strong place. I have a poster, a print of Reggie hitting that last home run in my office at home. I look at it every day. Reggie brought me great joy, but he was a Yankee for 5 years. Roy White was a Yankee for 15. Reggie's career was filled with controversy, fighting, anger. Roy White's career was filled with class and dignity. Why is Reggie there and Roy White not? And let's not be sitting on a podcast, on the news, have Yankee fans saying it, seeing it all over Twitter, everywhere in social media, that player X belongs in Monument Park. And what a shame it is that he's not alive to see it, because time passes on. Just like it did for Tommy John. Yankees, it is time. You don't have any rules for Monument Park. You don't have a voting process. You don't have a calendar that says only certain times can people be voted in. Yankees, you can decide this any moment you wish. You can do it right now. The Yankees could issue a press release right now and say, you know what? It is time to recognize some of our most elder statespeople, our statesmen, former players who deserve to be in Monument Park. Let's put them there. Let's give them that one last or one more special moment of glory to let them bask in that joy. Let's do that because it's the right thing to do for that player. It's the right thing to do for that player's legacy. It's the right thing to do for that player's family. And it's the right thing to do for Yankees history. You can't tell the story of the Yankees and neglect certain players. You're telling a false history in Monument Park. It's a skewed history. So I encourage you to please, please, please go to Start Spreading the News. Read all my articles. I talk about how unfair and arbitrary it is in Monument Park. And here's the thing, as I've said, the Yankees have the ability to change it in a moment. They can do it right now. It's the right thing to do. Yankees, do it. Do the right thing. This one's simple. It's easy. It's not even controversial. We have a great place for great Yankees, and those guys are great Yankees. Let's recognize them. Dave Whitfield isn't out there. It doesn't make any sense, except if the Yankees are holding grudges or something. Or you can't say, well, they don't meet the standard, because these guys were as good or better than guys who were there by a long shot. And you can't say, well, that guy meant more to the team. They meant more than the guy who was the Yankee captain, Greg Nettles. How do you make that argument? He was so well thought of, they made him the team captain. And yet they don't put him in Monument Park? Well, they have too many third basemen already. They don't have any. I mean, come on. It's just silly. It's wrong. It's unacceptable. It's time for the Yankees to do the right thing. Honor the players who deserve to be honored while they can still enjoy and appreciate it. Please, Yankees, do that. Please. It's the right thing to do. It would be nice to see the Yankees doing the right thing. All right, we talk about giving love, right? We talk about sharing happiness. We talk about looking at the good around us and giving it. We talk about, and I believe this entirely because it's happened my whole life, when you give love, it comes back to you in greater amounts. Give that love. Yankees, give that love to those players. Read my articles from the week. You cannot read those articles. And the last one, called The Arbitrary and Unfair Nature of Monument Park, links to all the other articles I wrote this week, which are just some of the million articles I've written about it since 2017 on Start Spreading the News. But read those articles and you can't come to any other conclusion that, yeah, the Yankees have done a bad job to date with Monument Park. They need to fix it. So fix it. You can do that today. Do it, please. You'll be glad you did because it's the right thing to do. And when we do the right thing, it makes us happy and then we can have a great day. Let's make every day a great day. My dear friends, thank you for watching. This has been the Dr. Sem Yankee Show. I'll be back here again next Saturday morning at 7 a.m. And the show is also repeated every Tuesday at 5 p.m. And it's also linked on Start Spreading the News. Have yourselves a wonderful, terrific, great, fabulous, and enjoyable day and an enjoyable week. Thank you for watching. Let's go Yankees. Let's hope they keep winning. Let's go Yankees. All right. Have a